pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Unfortunately, Mr. Becker just took a call. His father's got some serious health issues and he had to run. So he won't be here today, and he's asked that I take over the meeting for him as his deputy. So let's go down through the agenda. Approved minutes from the town board meeting on June 7th.
So moved.
We got a motion by Mr. Gibbons.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bishevich. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The next agenda item, I talked to John about it. We're going to change the name because it gets confusing. We've had multiple iterations of trying to get water down through Salt Springs. The public has made it clear they don't want it. However, Clear Path needs it for their organization. So the name is going to be changed to Clear Path Water District, since they're the only one that will be part of this program. So, as part of the resolution, John and Ken Knutson, what do we need to do with this?
No, I talked to Ken, so we'll make edits in the minutes to reflect the name change, and we can update the document. So it's not a critical thing that the name changes to reflect what it actually is.
And my understanding is Manlius Town Board is going to take lead agency because they really need water up on Horseshoe Lane also. Those are the two areas that really need to be focused on for this water district.
That is correct, and they started that process last week at their board meeting, coordinated review. The Town of Sullivan Board is an involved agency, so you should have received a letter from them with, basically asking you if you agree that they should serve as lead agency for that.
And that's appropriate because most of this is them, and that's what we've done that with other towns where we are adjacent to them. We assume lead agency, we ask the other agencies to consent to that, and that's what they're asking you to do the same thing. Just puts all the seeker work into their lap.
Yeah, so do we need a motion to
You need
consent?
a motion and a second to consent to lead agency status to the town of Manlius on that project.
All right, so I need a motion to consent to making Town of Manlius lead agency on the Clear Path Water District. Is there anyone that would be willing to make that motion?
So moved.
Mr. Montroy makes the motion.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gibbons. Further discussion? Anything to add, Ken?
The document that John mentioned is forthcoming to your board in the form of a map plan report for the proposed Clear Path Water District. That will include a lot of overlap with what's been prepared for the town of Manlius existing Sky Ridge Water District. And Manlius also has a parallel Clear Path Water District because Clear Path at Sky Ridge LLC has two parcels that are straddled by the county line.
Yes.
One of which abuts the existing Manlius Sky Ridge Water District, and they have plans to expand into that parcel. So Manlius is also doing a review of a proposed district in addition to their 202B for the Sky Ridge Water District.
Okay. This is really going to be an important project for Clear Path, for their development and their growth in their program. So,
And ultimately, just so the board knows, we've been engaged by Aqua. They are paying for us as a stakeholder with the two towns, and we're trying to move this district process forward in accordance with town law to make the July 28th due date for the water improvement application, or Water Infrastructure Improvement Act applications that are due for a WE grant.
okay, good. Any other discussion? All in favor of this motion to consent, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Harbor Lights Wetlands Delineation. So this is part of our development of our business park out at Harbor Lights. John, do you have anything to add to this? We have a proposal to have B&L do that delineation. Ken, do you want to explain that?
This is being headed up by our environmental group, Johanna Duffy, who's been working with the town. It's my understanding there is a couple of new developments proposed within the business park.
Yep.
We had done a delineation several years back. That needs to be basically redone in light of the recent development, and this proposal would cover those, that redelineation.
There's one lot under contract, as you guys might remember.
Yes.
There's another lot that's being looked at, and part of the entire closing process, the examination of wetland issues was all part of that. But I think B&L had made a recommendation to constrain down some of this per lot. So this one you're proposing is the lot 5 analysis, I think, for wetlands, if I read it correctly. Rather than look at the whole thing and then have to redo it a couple of years from now, they're saying, let's zero in on lot
This
5.
one.
So
Yeah.
that's what this proposal is for.
Yeah, and some might wonder, and make sure I get the history right, that why aren't we grandfathered in? We set this park up, well, all the wetland rules have changed in this time, and now we have to follow all these new rules, which means more delineation. In fact, unfortunately, we were chatting about that before John had to run, that there may be some monies available to deal with some of this wetland mitigations from the state. So kind of good news to hear. Unfortunately, at the same time, we have to do some of these things, but it would help us mitigate those things and get that business park to a final position where we can develop all of it, I'm hoping. So
But this is talking about just that 1 5-acre.
this is just to get this one property, correct,
Lot 5.
lot 5.
Just to add to that too, if you recall, 10 years ago or so, we were retained by Central New York Regional Planning to do site profiles, basically marketing materials for 20 plus sites within their 5-county coverage area. This business park was one of those. They've retained us again to basically freshen those up, so your park remains with that. So we're working with CNY Regional, National Grid, and Center State to update these profiles, put a fresh look on them, new marketing spins. So certainly we'll be running that by you.
Well, and we need to keep going on that with Micron coming in. There could be some great opportunities.
Absolutely.
All right, so we need a motion to approve this proposal to do the wetland delineation for lot number 5.
So moved.
Dan Gibbons moves. Can I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bruschevitz, seconds. Any further discussion?
I think it's high.
Okay. What do you want it to be, Dave?
I don't know what, but for 10 grand for 5 acres seems like a lot of money to me.
Comment, Ken, anything, or
It's probably not really his department.
Is it lump sum or time and expense?
it's lump sums? It's got task 1, 2, and 3 broken down in our schedule. 4,300 for wetland delineation, 3,200 for supplemental wetland delineation memo, and for lot 5 development support, 2,700.
Is there any of that that could potentially be covered through an escrow? I don't know what the town's intent was, if it was all locally funded, or since it's being done for a new developer, if there's any potential for task 3 in particular to be covered through escrow?
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess John, what have we done on some of the past projects that will,
I think we, in that development, we funded it, I believe, to my knowledge.
okay?
So we've been in and out of that place. I've been around Lee 3 different times. We've been in there poking around.
Okay.
But as far as I know, I don't know of any of the developers that paid for it. And I don't know if that's a deal breaker with us.
Well, unfortunately, this will have to get done to continue to move forward, so are you proposing we stop and look for something else? Or go to an escrowed, Ken? Would you guys entertain an escrowed account?
Through the developer,
Well, it'd be through, yeah,
Be the developer, right?
Yeah, you'd have to go back and talk to.
Escrow is usually for
Yeah.
infrastructure, right, and all the infrastructure is in.
yeah, this is a delineation, unfortunately.
I'm only bringing it up because I just personally did 22 acres for $10,000, so 5 acres seems like a lot of money to me.
yeah, as you mentioned, Dave, it's not my department, I'm not the principal or officer in charge of the department. Yeah, so-
Okay.
So I'm just throwing that up there. It just seems like a lot for me for 5 acres, but
Yeah, and I don't know their schedule. I mean, you're still coming out, whether you're walking 5 or 10, you still have the cost, but again, I don't know if they do it by the square inch or what your process is to do
make
this.
sure we get other quotes on it, I guess.
Does it identify, and my apologies, I've not seen the letter proposal, does it
Okay.
identify the assumed estimated number of days in the field.
I do not
I didn't
see.
see that in there.
I don't see any days.
Here, take a quick look.
You know, they're gonna have to come out, they're gonna have to delineate and demarc all the new, because the wetlands expand over time. So somebody's gonna have to come out, redo it,
When's our next meeting?
beginning of July,
Yeah, July 5th.
July 5th. Ooh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, the 4th is going to be Tuesday.
So we should be good for that one. Yeah, the holiday shouldn't interfere with that.
No.
So I'm just reading this opening two paragraphs, 2 and 3. It appears we've already been engaged or asked to do work and been out to the site. Provided these services on the task one. This is just going to be completing those. Demarcation boundary in the field. Yeah, so it appears again that task one is you know, all the field work that's either been done today or that needs to be done to finish the field demarcation. Task 2 is a DEC compliant, USACE compliant wetland delineation report. We have a pretty good handle as to what has to go in that for approval and any comment responses on that. And then task 3 assumes 16 hours of staff time. So, you know, if anything, that's qualified with number of hours, so that could be revised to time and expense, and if we charge it, if it's requested, we provide it, we charge it, if not, we don't charge it. This would be a suggestion.
Okay. John, can we legally approve this with our own modifications to change task 3 to time and expense?
You could do it conditionally upon them
Proposing.
sending you a revised agreement that captures
Okay.
what you're talking about.
Right. Well, so there's your options, or we continue down the path with where we are with this agreement. So, Dave's brought up concerns. Any questions, concerns? What's your wishes?
Yeah, well, you take lead on this, I don't understand, you know, I don't.
Right. So,
Well,
are you?
Because you're a
Yes, I-
developer, you know more about this than.
So we already approved task 1?
Apparently, by the
Looks like
sounds
we-
of it, we're moving forward on task 1. They've been
Task
our,
one's already done.
they've been our historic person to do these things. So, yep.
Well, if we've already done it, I guess we got to continue with it, but I think that next time we probably ought to look at it a little closer.
Okay.
I'll learn from that, yes, exactly.
All right. Hearing no further motions, any other discussion? All in favor of approving this, this wetland delineation proposal, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Right?
Dave is opposed. Okay. We have new hires, agenda item number 5 for the Park Department. Liliana Rosso at $14.20 per hour. Caroline Greer at $14.20 an hour, and they start at the end of June through the beginning of August. I don't have Lori here, I would have loved to know, are we getting pretty close? How are we doing on staff? Do you happen to know, John?
I don't have any percentages for you, but Lori's doing a really good job filling the vacancies
Good.
at a reasonable rate, as you can see, so.
Yeah.
And it's just a part-time temporary position anyways, pretty much following the patterns that we've had in previous years.
Okay. Keeps our park program running really well, so. Propose these new hires, can I have a motion?
So moved.
John Brushevich, motion, second.
Second.
Dave Montroy, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next one is continued discussion from the American Legion Post. As you know, in the last meeting, I brought up that Joe Geiser would like to do the Hometown Heroes program. We talked about it. He's followed the next steps. He went into the village. They've made a request for a variance because there is a border issue there, knowing that in the future, that land will be turned over to the town. So we have to make a letter sent to the town planning, or the, excuse me, the village planning board,
Yeah.
stating that that's what we understand and that's how we're gonna move forward, so they can make a determination on this setback, so he can put up his chicken grill as a cooking area.
Yeah.
So, is that pretty accurate, Jill?
Right, the board has asked that the town confirm that in fact they're going to take the project area over once the buildings are built. I know Joe is looking to get them built, but as part of the public hearing,
Yep.
the attorney thought we should have really confirmation that the town was gonna take this over.
Yeah. So I guess that would be the next step. I mean, we talked about that, it seemed very positive. Are we in
We talked
agreement
about
with
that at the
that?
last meeting.
Yeah.
I guess, John, we need to obviously write a letter to responding to that, so they have a document.
Yep.
Right.
But do we need a motion or anything from
Yeah,
the
we can
board?
make a motion to say that you're gonna respond in the positive to this letter from the village.
Okay. Anybody want to make that motion? We respond to a positive?
I'll make it.
Dave Montroy, second,
Second?
by Dan Gibbons. Further discussion. It's going to be a nice
It's
project.
gonna be good for everything.
It's going to be good. It's quite an honor. Joe, that's one of Joe's projects, and it's really going to be nice when it's done. Let them do their chicken barbecue. So,
This was the follow-up to the meeting that we all attended.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Where they-
it sounds like it's been scaled back a little.
No, it hasn't. It's, well, originally Joe wanted a kitchen and bathrooms and everything.
Correct.
Yeah, it has been
It's
scaled
scaled
back.
back.
I don't know where you are in the process, but really in the last few months, he's narrowed in down to a pavilion for seating and a chicken cooking area to cook these chickens. So it came out to around 39,000, I think, for the whole thing. 10 of it was for the cooking area, the rest was for the pavilion. It's pretty much locked in, they don't have the funds.
Yeah, I just
So we-
wanted everybody to know,
Yep.
we were actually there and listened to the initial presentation, and it's moved forward ever since.
Well, like every project, they start out pretty big, and then you get, financial realities, and then you turn it into what is more appropriate.
More feasible.
So, and even Joe got to that point, so,
Yeah,
no,
Joe-
we've had very good support with the group, so if there isn't any
Joey
further.
said that they've gotten $14,000 roughly raised at this
Yeah.
point, and they've gotten quotes for the two buildings and the barbecue area. The quotes are like $26,000 or $27,000. They've gotten a really good quote for
They have.
for the structures.
But they're only starting this year with
Yeah.
the chicken barbecue area, that's it, they don't have enough funding to do the
But
pavilion.
they're
at this
hopeful that
point.
they can do that because they're doing a big fundraiser right now.
The goal would be, once they
Yeah.
build the pavilion, to package it all up and do same thing we did with the Legion, which is turn it over to the town, and it would fall under the town insurances and all that, so.
On a related note, the village has a relatively new chicken law, so maybe those will dovetail some straight chickens.
There you go.
Walking around the
Don't
village.
walk past this pavilion.
Right in there.
As long as they have the acreage, they can do it, yeah.
If there's no further discussion then, all in favor of this, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Amendment to the Chittenango Solar Environmental Review. You had a chance to review the proposal. Ken, do you want to address this one?
Certainly. So the town board may recognize this project. It's been hanging around for quite a while. It's a proposed solar array located north of here. And we had been retained under escrow services to assist with reviews. We've done 3 formal written reviews on site plan documents received to date and assisted quite a bit navigating the DEC wetlands and the site layout and mitigations and some of the seeker assistance. So we've exceeded the initial escrow amount. We've attended several planning board and ZBA board meetings because both are required for zone change on this as well. So we've got remaining services here to continue to assist the town with getting through the seeker process, town planning board, and reviewing any final documents that may be coming in.
So Dave's obviously concerned about costs. What if we don't approve this? What would be the response? What would happen next?
This one would be a developer
He's paying his
cost,
escrow,
so
right?
the
Okay.
developer has to, we did, when we first came to work here, we had you guys adopt a law that requires the solar. It's actually in your solar law too, I should
Okay.
mention that's right in there.
So in this right
So
here,
we-
he's asking for the developer.
Yeah.
So we have to
But
do
they
it.
want to ask you to tell the developer to do the
Gotcha.
deposit.
That's why I'm trying to make sure it's clear.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point.
I like
So
that
people
point,
know
yeah.
that, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's the right thing to do, in my opinion. is-
Well, yeah, let them
is-
pay.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of stuff that goes into those reviews, so.
Yep.
I should also mention that they've canceled, I don't know, 4 or 5 meetings in a row with their application.
Really?
They just send an email a few days before, saying we're not ready. And that's fine, but they've also used up that escrow for the time that we have done stuff here. And it does require, it's going to require approval from the zoning board of appeals, and it's sizable variance they need. And they've been in front of the zoning board a couple of times, and it's also going to require a full special use permit and site plan review from the planning board. So there's a ways to go.
There's a lot of involvement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, and it's my understanding, John, they're waiting on jurisdictional determination.
That's
of the
right.
Wetlands that were
Yep.
delineated from the DEC. That's what's
Yep.
being built, that's what's delaying.
Okay.
And they wanted to ask us to waive some of that, but neither of the boards were comfortable with that, and that's the right answer.
Okay.
Right. So the way, the way this would work, again, if the town board were to approve this, town supervisor signs off on it, this then goes to the developer. We will build the town, however, you won't pay us until that escrow funding gets deposited with the
Yep,
town.
I'm familiar with that part. Yep. I want to make sure we're all on the same page with this. What's the will of the board? We continue to ask for the deposit per our solar law. It would seem that we should.
I couldn't vote on it today because I'm just not feeling comfortable with I'm not up to date on what we're doing yet.
Okay.
So,
So if we push this back a meeting, Ken, is it really going to affect a whole lot? Do you have enough? Okay.
we're gonna have another meeting in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks, yes.
Let's get some more information to the
Sure, if
board.
you've got questions, John or anyone else on the board.
Yeah, I mean, John may have been able to answer a few more of them, but if it's not going to hurt anything with these type of
Or
questions,
talk to Frank, you know.
make sure we're on the same page.
Sure. That's fine.
Okay. And we will,
Good.
I'm going to table this for now. Do I need a motion?
No, you're just
Okay.
It's good.
All right, any budget modifications? No budget mods? Firefighter applications? You have a few in your packet.
Yes.
I see a few.
You've had a chance to review them. There's a few of them. Yeah. Good to see we're having a few people.
I know, it's nice.
Yep. I always enjoy getting these things. If you've had a chance to review, I need a motion to approve the 4 people that are on here. Stephen Meredith, Richard Rolfe, Owen Clark, and Eric Rode.
I'll move it.
A motion by Dave Montroy, second.
I'll second it.
Second by Dan Gibbons. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. We don't have anything for executive session. Is there anything from the public? Andy, nothing? Okay.
Hi, Bob.
I just wanted to prove it, come keep my mouth shut.
Well, you never have to keep, you
Good
never
job.
have to keep it. Oh, no.
Yes, sir.
We don't.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm at the morning, I'm not sure I'm at the right venue or not, but I'm a homeowner on Roxbury Road.
Okay.
And we got
Sir, can I have your name and address just so we know who you are?
Yep,
Okay, yep.
Joe, Wieczorek, and 112 Roxbury Road, Kirkville.
Joe, what can we help you with today?
Drainage.
Okay.
I lived there since '78, and I've gone through varying degrees of flooding and such, and my neighbors all battle the same thing too. It's basically a squared off horseshoe, the drainage that we have now. It goes from Filer Road to the thruway, runs along the thruway, goes under the thruway to Chenango Creek.
Okay.
That, I keep my ditch clear and neighbors what I can, but the ditch along the thruway is just choked to death. the water's not flowing down there. The gradient isn't that great, so any type of restriction backs the water up, and, you know, the yards are flooded. The younger neighbors and such, they ask me, and I tell them it's been going on for a long time. Now, back about 20 years ago, the highway department, actually, for the town, came down and cleared all that. I don't know how they accomplished that because of different landowners and such. The ditch is on my property, and I think on the west side of the road, it's on all the landowners' property there. Mike Barney from Action Topsoil owns on the back side, and he's been very helpful at times, trying to help me keep the ditch clear. But that ditch along the thruway is choked to death. There's no water gonna flow through there. And speaking for my neighbors on the east side of the road, that ditch is choked also behind their homes, and we get a significant amount of water in our yards and wouldn't know where to go for a long time.
Well, Andy, you're the one who knows the roads and the drainages and stuff. Are you familiar with
So
this?
I walked that with you once.
You did,
Yeah.
and you said your hands were kind of tied
Yeah.
because of the different,
It's all a lot of private property, but I know Sarah from the New York State Thruway Authority, I could actually give you her contact. She worked extensively with, I think, Segroy's and a couple other neighbors, and even maybe the trailer park, with a lot of beaver issues down through there. She was very helpful. I know she had the Thruway Authority out there addressing some of those things. So do you know if that corridor is in the thruways?
I don't know for sure. I do know the landowner, he's a new landowner at the end of the road, Mike, and all these, you know, he doesn't have any problem with people going on the property to clear that ditch. I don't know if it's on his property or the throughways. I don't know that.
So, John,
But-
you could help us with the legality termination on.
And we always require either an easement, a revocable license with a full release for liability anytime we get into something like that. So if that's what you pursue, then my recommendation is that we stop to do that paperwork for that.
Well, especially with the throughway involved too. That's another whole thing.
Yeah,
We will, if it's private property, that's one thing, but the thruway would have to handle their end.
Yeah,
And like I said, this Sarah's been really receptive to these things.
Okay,
She's actually a Chittenango native, and she's been really receptive, but like I said, you gotta kind of tie everybody in together. So, getting property owner releases, if we can do that legally through the town attorney.
I can help with that. I just gotta know the proper sequence to what's on our
Well,
part.
we need to, everybody that's involved, if town equipment were to go on or in the property, we need to have the names, address, locations, preferably some legal descriptions, maybe from their deeds, would be helpful to attach. And then we draw up a document that would say that we have limited right to go onto the property to do these things. And then it would fully leave, there would be no liability whatsoever if something were to occur on the property. You just don't know what can happen when you bring heavy equipment in. Something might be something underground that we don't know about. There might be some equipment damage, and that's probably the extent of what we would want. And we'd have to have that prior to any work being scheduled.
Okay, so.
I gotta work with Andy on that too, so we.
Yeah, and Andy has been, I'm sorry I didn't recognize you, I only met you once before. So what exactly do I need from the land, all my neighbors and stuff? I mean, what type of a document? What-
I would tell you to get a tax map and mark up the different properties where this, will you help them with that?
Yeah, I actually have an app on my phone, it's on, for
Yeah.
hunting, it's Onyx Hunt, and we could go through and we can
And we
label
need to
out
see it,
every.
and you guys are pretty good about using, was it, the pictometry stuff?
Yes,
so.
yeah, big time.
And they show what that is to us, and then we're probably gonna draft it pretty general, because otherwise you're gonna get into legal descriptions, and we don't wanna spend money on that.
Right.
So it basically give us a generic right to go on the property to undertake certain work, and then we probably wanna say kind of what that work is, what the extent of it might be, you know, generally speaking. So we need that, we need to know the whole overview of what you're gonna do, and who the people are, and who needs to give us the releases.
Okay,
Okay?
okay. And do I come to the next meeting with that? or
Well, you
how do I-
can, you can actually just get with me,
Okay,
and I will put it through.
Yeah, we can work with the three of us to do that.
okay, thank you.
All right. Anything else? If not, then can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Did we stay here all day? Motion by John, second by Dave. All in favor? Aye. Motion to.
David, nothing to say?
He said.
You went to Elk Grove?
No.